And welcome everyone once again to another terrific edition of Match of the Week live stream reaction video. I am your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty. Now, normally, I would be taking my victory lap here because, as you've seen the past couple of weeks, I've been wearing my Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, football jersey, and of course, they have won the Super Bowl, but we just simply do not have the time this time because we've got two, not one, but two big matches coming up here on this live stream. The first was done out of necessity because Hacksaw Butch Reed passed away, and Butch, I've seen some of his work in Mid-South, which is actually incredibly entertaining. He was a great worker, especially for his time and the guys he was able to work with, and who better to showcase that with than Ric Flair. 25-minute matchup we got here, and I'm about to slip that into the live chat now. If you're watching this post live stream, then you will find this match in the description. And bubble, there we go. And that is for the Butch Reed and Ric Flair match, which is called, for those of you who can't see that, because for whatever reason, they sometimes post my stuff, they sometimes don't when I send it. But the name of the match is Ric Flair versus Butch Reed. That's a real easy one. The name of the YouTuber is Randall G. And this match was from, it seems to be 1985, but it definitely was Houston Wrestling. And we've seen a couple matches out of Houston Wrestling that I have really, really enjoyed. I recall that one we watched the other day with the Fantastics, which was just a blasty blast. And so we're going to take a look at this and watch this matchup. And this is to honor Butch Reed as best as we can here. And as you can see, I told you it's going to get the haircut. I got the haircut. But in any event, we're going to take this and we're going to watch this match. And I'm excited for this match personally because, Ric Flair is obviously Ric Flair. Butch Reed, you don't hear enough of him. I liked him in this. I liked him when he was paired with Ron Simmons. I liked Doom. It was a good tag team. And then, his career just started going downhill because, WWF was starting to lead. And his career, injuries, I think, were starting to catch up with him. I honestly don't know as much about Butch Reed as I should, but at least unlike last year where 3/4 of the people who passed away, I didn't see anything of. This time, I've actually seen a decent amount of Butch Reed in mostly squash matches and the like. But still a good competitor nonetheless, but this is, I'm sure, going to be very good. So we are going to start this, of course. Let me switch over here because now I'm blue. Look at how blue I am. And that's just the blue screen of my TV as I switch monitors. And now we are, nope, this is not it. This is it. Of course, we're going to start at 0, 0, 0. There are going to be wrestling introductions here, but I'm hopefully we will not have a problem as far as advertising is concerned, but you never know. This isn't the WWE match. Of course, after this, I didn't mention this, but after this, we've got Edge versus Triple H versus Jeff Hardy, Armageddon 2008, and I'll talk a little bit about that match there and why that match is here. Welcome to Anniversary Week, by the way, before we continue, because it was actually last week. We missed it last week because we had to do the Royal Rumble review, but it was the Royal Rumble review last year that rebooted the Court Martial podcast. So it is officially 1 year and continuing on now that the Court Martial podcast, 52 weeks consecutively, we've been here to provide for you the quality, smarkiest content you could possibly ask for. And here again today we are to watch two men in the original match of the week, which is Edge and Triple H taking on Jeff Hardy as well, Armageddon 2008. Another great match. We'll get to that, but let's start with great match number one. And I'm going to quit talking because we got some time to kill here. This is a 25-minute match, and Edge, Triple H, and Hardy is going to be 23, and then you add 3 minutes for ads, more or less. So we've got ourselves a long haul here, ladies and gentlemen. So I am ready to be with you for this hour of quality Court Martial podcast content. And I hope you are going to enjoy it with me as we get to do this. We will start with Ric Flair versus Butch Reed. So for those of you who are ready to get this going, we are going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Here we go. In-ring introductions. And I guess this is where I'm... Now, while these guys are doing their in-ring introductions for the NWA title, this is the difference I have in this. With the way that they did this in the in-ring intros back in the day, why I don't like them in modern wrestling is because they've already thrown away the semblance of it being a legitimate contest in pretty much every other facet. So why bother keeping it, especially because the people that they have are so over dramatic, and that also makes it nauseating. Half of it is the announcers themselves are just bad. They're just so over dramatic. And it doesn't need to happen in every single matchup, and that's the big problem. It's like in some, yes, but in all, no. That's my thing. But maybe I'm a little too indiscriminate with or a little lenient on when and where I will be having beer for these two matches, because we're going to be here for an hour. So let's go. There's Paul Bosch on commentary. Butch Reed looks huge. Looks real good. Wearing yellow, but it's stark. It's like almost like a gold yellow. In Houston wrestling. I mean, listen to that card. Even in 1985. I mean, the interesting thing with 85 is that you can definitely tell the audience is thinned a bit, but they're still pretty loud and they're still pretty rabid. But it was going to be really in 86 when Gino died and when the Von Erich, Kerry and I always forget the one who died in Japan. I always forget his name. But with the Von Erich that passed away in Japan, that happened right around this time, the whole cocaine deal, and they were starting to find that the Von Erichs were not the upstanding men that Houston thought they were. And that really hurt business a lot. And of course, Flair was touring around all the time.
Butch Reed, 275 pounds and muscle. You've heard us mention many times that Butch Reed can handle 500 pounds.
That's a nice hammer lock. Now, this is a solo commentator, Paul Bosch.
One thing is on his mind right now, no matter what else he has accomplished or what he can accomplish, winning this title.
Referee is, I think that's referee Tommy Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken, father of Eddie Gilbert.
Focus on all of his attention. One way to stay champion is not to be afraid to take the easy way out when it comes to breaking a hold. You get put outside the ropes, get tangled up in the ropes, get against the ropes, anything that makes the referee break the hold instead of having to break it.
These guys starting out slow. These people know.
So if you're writing a book on how
Flair and Butch know that they're going 20 at least.
that's one of the prerequisites. And if you're
And just wrenching in that head. And God,
win the title,
this is where milking
Butch Reed
works.
just gave you a lesson in how to tear a fellow's head off. That works too. Good way to give him a cauliflower ear. So referee Tommy Gilbert down, watching closely, looking at the champion's shoulder. The champion tilts it back, takes the leg, takes the waist lock, and manages to handle the 275 pounds in the challenger.
You can tell that Flair in his selling when he's slapping the back, he's definitely calling this. Even if it's just little hand motions, you can tell that Flair, just in where he's tapping Butch on the back, that's all communicative.
Stand him on his shoulders and leave him there. The twist.
This beautiful headlock. When was the last time you saw a headlock mean this much?
The bone of the forearm up against the bone of the head or the bone of the eye or jaw or against the ear. And then you're going to have an effective side headlock. Right now, the power and strength of
This headlock takeover by Butch Reed.
made itself evident as he managed to keep the champion from breaking the hold and actually was able to get his hold back immediately and even as effective as it was before. So the side headlock is Reed's answer. This match here tonight is the climax of a card that has seen some wild and violent action. This, the greatest prize in the professional wrestling game, the NWA heavyweight belt, is.
Now, obviously, we know that Butch Reed would not win this match just for the fact that Ron Simmons is known as the first recognized NWA World Champion.
The challenger knows that he's got to wear the
But that's not to say that Butch Reed wasn't valuable and talented. I mean, there's a reason that Flair would want to work with him at this point.
He just riled Butch Reed, and you don't rile Butch Reed without paying for it. Listen to the crowd. They want the referee to take a long, long walk in just one direction out of the ring.
What? What, Paul? They want the referee to take a long, good look out of the ring. What? I'm not sure what that meant, Paul. But
Reed is not going to listen. He's being told, but he wants to get out.
But still, there's a much better, simpler calling of matches when the matches are simpler. Especially because this is at a point when rules actually mattered.
But at the 5-minute mark, he's going to settle back down to some wrestling, and Ric Flair has.
And you know what's great is that they really haven't done much of anything yet. But they're milking this for time, but they're still making it feel like the way that two athletes would actually feel each other out at this moment. And the problem is when you... There's a way to do it. I think it's just all in the presentation. It's just all in the presentation at this point.
Turning his wrath against the referee as well as Ric Flair.
And especially because the Crash TV was so high-paced that now, like, if you try to slow it down, people's attention spans just aren't ready for that and milked for that. But Reed taking his time, Flair directing this, but he's doing it in a way that's really making Butch Reed so far look like the man who's been getting the consistent advantage. Nice drop down, takeover. Down, hip toss. Yep. Drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, and body press into a body slam. Nice. Flair selling, whining, shaking his head. That's classic Ric Flair. And Flair, that was the best part of Ric Flair's. His selling was just, it was so good in order, and he made a lot of people just in the way that he would or would not sell for you. But it doesn't sound like the people are nearly as behind Butch Reed as they have been for other people. Like the way that they were so behind the Fantastics, or even in his match in Houston with him and Magnum and Wrestling 2 at the Midnight, where they were just going off the roof. But again, this is 85, so business in Houston was not terrific. And I was just, I just realized I just mistaked Houston Wrestling and World Class when I was talking about the Von Erichs. But in any case, I mean, they were both kind of in that position at this point anyway. But you can see that there's a few more in the stands. It's still a full area here.
Shortened up as he reaches up on his wrist, and then that starts to slide back as the champion maneuvers, but the pressure remains constant to make it difficult for a man to breathe. You sort of hyperventilate him if you can get a shoulder in there right in the solar plexus, keep the pressure on, and make it tough for him.
Oh, nice chop by Rick. Ah, the Flair bump. Classic Flair bump, but of course, leg on the ropes. Nice for that to be used without it being like a crucial point, like a crucial contextual point in the match. I feel like that almost gets overplayed now, having the rope be the save. I mean, it's great to have the rope be the save, but the problem is it happens at the exact same point almost every match, so it doesn't mean as much. I mean, it still works when you need it to, but...
I have watched Ric Flair defend his title in a number of places, faraway places, in New Zealand, in Singapore, and he is a man who has not been afraid to...
Now, this is just a wrist lock by Flair, but you notice that people are starting to rile a little bit. They're starting to feel it, especially when Butch is now getting those hands. This is still shining Butch, believe it or not. I mean, eventually Rick's going to get that heat spot, but so far this is all getting Butch. Those left hands and then that big right.
He may have proven that Butch Reed is a challenger, and a good one.
That's right. And now that he's proven that Butch Reed's a challenger, and now that he's shown that Butch Reed can actually take a shot at this, and maybe he may not be able to do anything in a fair fight with Butch Reed, now might be the time we see Ric Flair cheat and get this heat spot.
Reed stays in close. 10 minutes have gone by. 10 minutes have gone by in this match.
This has been 10 minutes of making Butch Reed look fantastic.
Watch that arm. See that arm.
That's the thing about Rick is when he really wanted it, he saw something in you to make a really good name or a really good moment, he would do this kind of thing.
And it has furnished the frame with too little oxygen. And as Reed now puts it down, there's one, there's two, and Reed got a shoulder. Reed got pushed up and the shoulder came up. He's trying to glue those shoulders down to the deck.
Now this is really interesting too because it's
Ric Flair is confident now that he has broken the bear hug.
too because it's this bear hug. That's a really nice way to do it, where Flair kind of just falls down because he's running out of strength, and then goes to the pin. Here's the pin and catches up. You didn't see that much with a bear hug, not that kind of way. I like that. That was creative.
Reed puts the big grip on him. You can bet that his forearms feel like he has lost all the life.
Flair gets to the ropes. Got to break the hold now.
Long enough, and your hands become tired. That's why you can. The longer you hold the hold like this.
I'm not sure Tommy Gilbert's even really doing enough.
Administering it. The man who's caught, if he can outlast you, has a fighting chance because your arms get a little bit weaker. That's why you've got to spend those hours in the gym. That's why you've got to be lifting those weights. That's why you've got to be doing the exercises for the hands, the wrists, the forearms. Because that's what you use in applying a whole like,
Oh God, that chop. You can hear that chop, but man, that rallied. It definitely rallied Butch Reed. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see another Rick bump. I'm waiting to see where this heat spot's coming. It's got to be coming soon because he's probably gonna get a good 10 minutes of heat on him, and then we'll see the comeback, and that'll be that. And probably 45 seconds after, and I can't wait to see how fast this finishes because it's why I love territory wrestling. We're gonna try to time it.
Barely rolls out of the way that time. So Reed is lifted and dropped, and there's a leg breaker as Ric Butch Reed right down on his outstretched.
It's a nice leg breaker by Flair. I don't know if Flair really even cheated for that.
Butch Reed came down crashing hard, and that's why we call it a leg breaker. It is.
But now, of course, Flair's going to do what he does.
And watch out for Ric Flair. He's a master at leg work. He ties his legs up in a figure four leg lock. Here he is, spinning around.
Wow, going for the figure four that fast. Wow. That's a bit of a surprise.
Lock on there. Butch Reed is in the most serious trouble he's been into this match. And fans are screaming for Butch Reed.
The fans are screaming for Butch, but I don't really see anything that Flair did. I mean, is that leg lock illegal? Maybe that was the point. Maybe they didn't want him to cheat. Flair couldn't have been a babyface champion at this time. Not the way. No way, because they wouldn't have done a babyface match in Houston.
Preserve his leg, preserve his shot at the title, and there is Ric Flair applying the pressure. But
Butch trying to turn that over. Trying to turn that over. And he's got it, so well, he's like halfway through it, and then Flair adding that extra little bit.
Champion Ric Flair, and actually Flair broke that hole himself in order to get a chance to get his own legs working again. Here you see him after the same hole. He's going to spin it around. 15 minutes have gone by. There's the twist. He tries to keep from being.
This was not a 20-minute time limit, was it? They might have said that at the beginning. This could end up going Broadway, I suppose. This is an NWA title match, I think. And Broadway wouldn't be a bad way for Butch Reed to walk out of this without really feeling like he lost to the champion.
He was able to hurt Ric Flair's leg out on the floor. Butch Reed through the ropes, down on the deck. Referee getting ready now, counting as he pushed the champion back to the neutral corner, and Reed went rather.
You can hear the fans really trying to rally behind Butch Reed.
Away, and Reed's having trouble. Stands up. Some of those old football injuries come out when you get those toe holes.
And Butch Reed, I mean, Flair really did make Butch Reed look impressive. He had a charisma, but it wasn't so like outlandish or like over the top as Butch Reed. It was so much more just like him, the person, which is what I like. Which is another thing about territory wrestling. It's like there's not much more except just him being just a little bit more him. People throwing now Flair doing the chops and making humiliating by keeping him outside of the ring. Now Flair's being a little more heelish. Flair trying to come back. Oh, leapfrog. Leapfrog in a sunset flip? Nope. Flair went for the punch. That was great. Flair went for the punch, hit Butch Reed in the head and went, oh, damn, it sold his hand. Nice.
Flair goes after and tries to set him up now. No, quick.
And a sleeper. And the sleeper got a pop.
Butch Reed wrap around the head and the neck of world champion Ric Flair and attempt to put him to sleep. Forwards down on Flair's.
Now this is a very interesting because this match is structured very differently than I thought it would be.
The grip is around the head. The carotid artery is the target. He's trying to impede the progress of blood to the brain. There's one, and there is two, and there is two. That went down with some control, so the referee didn't do anything about it. There's one, there's two, and now Flair tries to fight his way over to his side.
Well, that was one where actually his hand went down, but he had a little waving motion. Probably in by WWE standards, they would have counted that as 3, although they don't even do 3 anymore. Oh, they don't even do 1. And that's another one of those things that you kind of wish you still had.
That sometimes transmits to the old Ric Flair brought his knees up to the bent position as Reed went through the air, and Reed fell on those knees and hit hard. So now, as the champion gets into a defensive position, the count stops on him, but it was going on Reed. But Reed demonstrated the fact that he has something in him to get up. Here is Flair now trying to keep damaging the same area.
This match has been way cleaner than I expected it to. Rick, for being the dirtiest player in the game, has really done 0 dirty. But it's been more his body language that's made him arrogant and heel-like and cowardly. Even though he's so impressive and a hell of a wrestler. Oh, Flair loves doing this bump. He loves doing that double body thing, the double pull-up. Oh, he loves that. I see that in so many Flair matches from this time period. Because Flair just loved to do it.
Butch Reed come up there and showed the power in his back, in his legs, and in his neck as he bridged and come up to a standing position and then into that backslide. Now Reed throwing that fist and throwing it hard, finding Ric Flair, driving it into him. And as Reed
Now, I'm guessing this is something of a comeback here?
20 minutes has gone by.
Oh, and there's a ref bump.
Outside the ring.
Now we're going to see Ref do something. See Flair do something healing. He's got it. Low blow. Oh, that's it. Go for the report. No referee. Cover 1. That was probably 3. Over the top. Oh, it's illegal. Oh, he skinned the cat. Look at that. Wow. Butch Reed skinning the cat. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest thing you ever seen. He's no Shawn Michaels at it, but that was still, for the time period and the place, that's still pretty impressive. But you could tell that Butch Reed was a lot hotter at 83 than he was at this point. I mean, it almost feels like it's a little bit too late for Butch Reed at this point. I mean, it's still 86 and he still looks great, so I guess I can't judge that much. But compared to what he was in Mid-South. Well, then again, I do have to say that Doom was good, so. That was 4 years later, 5 years later than this. Yeah, he's throwing it out. Butch Reed didn't win. He threw it out. Referee threw out because of the ref bump. Yeah, everybody thinks he won, but now they're going to get pissed. So was the premise of this the fact that the finish itself was going to generate enough heat that they didn't need to do anything with heat during the match?
Ric Flair has been disqualified. The champion has been disqualified. But the belt does not change hands on a disqualification. So he called for a disqualification, but not as I estimated, but he actually gives the match to...
Yeah, and I've never seen more fans want to hit the referee than I have right now. They want to beat that referee's ass. And Flair escaping with his belt. And Butch Reed pissed that he Did the referee just push Butch Reed? The fans are pissed. Back when a disqualification finish would actually generate some level of heat that wasn't just like, oh, fuck disqualification finishes. But that was it. He did not win the belt, and that was all she wrote. All right. Not bad for the first match. I think Butch Reed, I thought we were going to get a little bit more of what else Butch Reed could do. I think this was good. This match was structured so oddly because it was so back and forth, and I'm so used to, I guess, more structure to Flair matches, but I guess in this way, I guess I understand why they did this. I mean, it was early. They put Butch Reed over. He looked great in the first 10 minutes of that match. I mean, looked absolutely terrific during the first 10 or so minutes. And then when, things kept going, and then it kind of went back and forth, and they did the figure four way early, and then Butch Reed got some advantage. But then the pace of it, the pace was so weird, and the fans were kind of into it, kind of not. And, I mean, at the end it was nice, but they didn't really do anything big with false finishes or anything like that. It was just, I don't know. It's just, that one was weird. That was a weirder match than I thought it would end up being, because it was, the first 10 minutes were great, and I thought that they were heading in that, but there was no real heat spot. And I guess the logic behind that was Flair. I mean, who knows how long Flair was going to end up being in Houston at that time anyway, which is probably not very long, considering that Crockett was about to get ready to do Starrcade 86, and I have a good feeling that Flair was going to make sure that he was still involved in that. I know this is October 85, but, Crockett was getting ready to really do what Crockett was heading for as far as the Starrcades were concerned. So it's just weird to me. This match was weird. Good, I think. Good. I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the match for what it was. The disqualification finish, it is what it is. But for a 25-minute match where really Butch Reed, I think, got more over overall, especially because the false victory still got a huge pop, and him getting screwed over by an officiating call made people want to see him more. But it's just, I think with the way that the rest of the match was, I don't know if that was the fever pitch moment that I think they were looking for, I guess, when it came to Butch Reed and Flair. And I would have to do a little research as to what happened next in Houston between those two, if there was even anything to follow that. But before we get to that, we, of course, have Edge versus Jeff Hardy versus Triple H. And just for the sake of it, I made sure I refreshed this and played out the 15-second ad that was going to play when I started it. So we are going to, now that is done, taxes, everybody. So now you know about taxes. Here we go. So we are now at 0-0-0. Edge, Jeff Hardy, Triple H. Now this match, our very first match, Edge versus Triple H at the Bash, I think it was 2008, was fine. I just didn't think that these two had that much of a chemistry together. I still believe that. But now they've added Jeff Hardy into the mix. And the last time I ever saw this match, I remember really liking it. Because Jeff Hardy and Triple H had quite a good chemistry, as did Edge and Jeff. Jeff was one of those guys who was, really, you want to talk about at his peak performance, was really 2008 into 2009. Jeff was putting on matches with everybody that were at least halfway decent, if not good, if not really good, pretty much throughout the entirety of these next 2 years. It's peak Jeff Hardy matches coming through. And this was his first title win. This was huge for Jeff. And Edge and Triple H did a really good job of making sure that he felt like he was just as important among the big boys. And I think that made a difference because they both liked Jeff, and Jeff had that charisma and the ability to do that. So this is going to be a fun match. We're going to start at 0-0-0. Of course, every 4 minutes and change, we are going to be hearing, we're going to be getting ads. So I'm going to try to timestamp you in. We got lucky with that Butch Reed and Ric Flair match, but we will hopefully have the same occur here. So here we go. Edge, Jeff Hardy, Triple H, Armageddon 2008 WWE title match. Armageddon 2008, WWE's YouTube channel. Starting at 000, I will timestamp us in as the ads come. We are going to go in. Oh, before I start, if I step out of frame, don't worry, I'm still there. You'll still be able to hear me. I just got to take care of something. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. And we are getting no entrances this time, no in-ring introductions this time, and Edge going right, or Hardy going right after Edge. And Edge and Hardy have certainly no strangers. Edge, and now Hardy just a house of fire, getting fed beautifully. Nothing like warm, light beer. Oh, there's nothing that says wrestling show quite like warm, light beer, but I don't even think they serve alcohol at wrestling shows anymore. Pretty sure it's all just like Mountain Dews and soda and Monsters and energy drinks and all that garbage. No disrespect to Josh Hacksaw, but Hardy now just immediately taking advantage the way these two, what many would consider to be bigger stars, is exactly the kind of start that Hardy needed. Oh, that's right. This is the JR and Taz era. Who I always thought had good chemistry on commentary. Now, this was the actual WWE title, which Jeff would win the World Heavyweight title in 2009 after Edge won it after winning the WWE title at the Rumble thanks to Matt, and then losing the WWE title at the first Elimination Chamber, then assaulting Kofi for the second Elimination Chamber, and a great clothesline by Triple H. And then, of course, Cena and Edge and that, and then Hardy beat Edge for that, and then they got to the Hardy Punk feud, which was very fun, and the beginning of the Straight Edge Society. And really, I think the heel turn in 2009 by Punk, I really, really enjoyed. Some of my favorite CM Punk work. Oh, nice upside down bump. I love how everybody hypes Triple H as being one of the smartest people, like one of the smartest wrestlers. Like everybody else is a freaking idiot in that ring, but Triple H, he's a smart man. And Edge had that whole thing with the La Familia, I think, at this time, with the Vicky and the Chavo and was it Gallows? No, who was the big man for that? Can't remember. No, Gallows, no, because they didn't change his no. He was still Festus at this time. Couldn't have been Gallows. You know, one thing I've noticed watching Triple H matches back, as much as I love all of Triple H's signature moves, and as much as they have been a staple for him and what he's done, and they've all gotten pops when he gets them, Triple H really just hit the same moves over and over. Oh, speaking of, front face buster. Not to say his matches are bad, it's just that, like, I feel like with Triple H matches, I know what I'm getting. Most of the time. And not in the way that he'll take bumps. Not in the way he'll take bumps, but as far as his wrestling moves are concerned. Not even like the demonic stuff with the chairs and the, oh, here we go for an ad. It's going to be a 441. That's where we're getting the ad. And this is an unstoppable 15-second ad. Do your taxes, everybody. But, yeah, it's just, especially with Triple H, just I feel like I've seen it. Because I have seen it. I've seen it every time. Triple H had a formula. I'm not saying the formula was bad. And here comes 445. That's where we are. Nice whisper in the wind. And maybe that was my complaint with the way that he and Edge had their match in 2000, in the first match of the week as well at the Bash. Because I feel like a lot of what Triple H did was the same stuff he always did. And that's not to say that Triple H didn't do unique stuff. Like, I remember when he broke out the old school Indian Deathlock against Booker T in 2003. But, like, I still want, at this point, I'm looking for, oh, botch. Jeff went up to do a whisper, but he sure botched that. I'm not sure what Jeff just did. Oh, we're going to get a tower. Oh, and now, ooh, that was a cool spot. Forgot about that. Oh, and that got applause. The electric chair whisper in the wind, that was cool. Cole looks so drab in the back. I wonder if they're instructed not to talk to each other during a match that they're not commentating. You know, that's one of my biggest complaints about wrestling, WWE's current pro wrestling format, is Triple H had to make, well, I don't say he got all his shit in because he would make sure that everybody else got their stuff in, but it's like, as far as the hit the signature moves all the time, the same signature moves all the time, hit the finish, and I'm not to say that there wasn't. All I'm saying is that there was a time when you didn't do everything you had during these matches, and I feel like even at this time, of course this isn't all they had. But the one thing I've learned a lot, like watching Bobby Eaton and do like that, is like they do different moves every single match. It's particularly Bobby Eaton. I've never saw somebody diversify his moveset quite like Bobby. And I feel like WWE kind of like demanded, especially because of the way that the Hogan was so successful and the way that Hogan drew so many buckets of money, that idea of just doing the same kind of formula was very much embedded in WWE's formula of what they wanted in a wrestler. And nice swanton. It obviously isn't over. This is still super early. Edge gonna pull Jeff out. Yep, he was ready for him. But in any event, I feel like that's a big part of what the reason why now we have such excessive use of that, of the excessive formula stuff. And I know now it's like you get the opposite problem where everyone's doing everything all the time with everything. I wish you could simultaneously slow down and not do as much, while also simultaneously not doing the same, not as much. I'm sorry, I missed that we had that here, but we're going to be able to skip it. So we are at right now hold on, 8:55. And now you can continue. 89, 9 minutes. No, that's right. Oh, that's right. I forgot ECW is still around. Matt Stryker and Todd Grisham. I always liked Todd. I always thought that he was a good commentator. I mean, I think he does better in SportsCenter, but I always liked Todd. Todd and JR did a good job in 2009, I thought, when JR was pushed kind of to JR was pushed to color. Oh, God. Oh, no. I don't know who that was. I think it was one of the cable guys. As he was just running cables who just got sandwiched there. And now being so nice as to take the monitors out so that the monitors don't hurt Edge. Got to make sure you got a flat table. That makes sense. They've been doing that since time immemorial. So, well, while they were using these tables and making this a thing. God, how long has it been since WWE actually changed their look? All the announcers running out of all the announcers in a bad way. Matt Stryker running for his life. All right, so now all the announcers. This is, I assume, the main event of Armageddon. Pretty sure this is how the show went off the air. Oh, yeah, you guys want to watch the show on TV? No. Why do I have a feeling it's Triple H who's going to be the one who ends up going through this table? I think that's what happens. Doesn't he try to pedigree Jeff and he ends up getting back body dropped through the table? Say what you want about Triple H, but he's taken a lot of ridiculous bumps for this business. Not as many as Jeff, obviously. You know, done some within reason, but Triple H kind of in that middle area of the we kind of don't want to see you anymore in 2008, but you're still really good, so we don't want to not see you. Very interesting dynamic. And then Jeff going to twist it around. Oh, you're going to do it. Oh, yes. Edge spears Jeff when Triple H ducks out of the way. That was beautiful. Back when JR cared. Back when everything in front of him wasn't absolutely embarrassing to be a part of. And he was just taking a check. That was a brilliant spot by those three. That was absolutely brilliant. Triple H going for the pedigree for like the 18th time. DDT, advertisement, 12:57, unskippable. Sounds just about right. All right, come on. And you can tell now we're only 13 minutes in. When we were 13 minutes into Ric Flair and Butch Reed, they had done, like Butch Reed, I think, was still being shined. I don't think Ric Flair had even put on the first figure 4 yet. And we just got an announce table spot. So you want to talk about format differences. Oh, big spine buster. Yeah, these people do not care about Triple H here tonight because this is about Jeff Hardy. The people want Jeff Hardy. The people only care about Jeff Hardy. They do not. If Triple H won this match, I think they would have booed him. Oh, my God. I forgot about Vladimir Kozlov. Oh, yes. Oh, God. We're going to have to talk about Vladimir Kozlov one day. Oh, hey, Matt. Right, this is before Matt shockingly turned on Jeff and launched into one of the best programs Matt Hardy ever had, where he won his WrestleMania match against Jeff Hardy. And because there's no disqualifications in triple threat matches, this all can happen. And Matt was not too far away. I think it was it the beginning of this year? It might have been at this time. Might have been at exactly this time that Matt was ECW champion. Jeff's still up from that table spot, I think. We are, by the way, just for a timestamp, Big Spear at 15:30. Oh, and what Edge's... I think Edge's best quality, I mean, his wrestling is obviously great, but his best quality has got to be his facials. He has always known how to articulate his facial expressions. It's no wonder that he got all those roles in Vikings and all that. Oh, Concerto. Okay, here we go. Now, I believe that Jeff Hardy shows up right now, yes. Big chair, won't show the chair shot, of course. This isn't over yet because Triple H could have stopped that. Now, I think it was in 2007 that Triple H and Jeff Hardy had that big feud, especially after they were the sole survivors in their Survivor Series match. And those matches are worth going back and taking a look at. If you have not seen Triple H versus Jeff Hardy, I recommend it because they are good matches. Jeff got put over quite a lot in a lot of good matches on. Oh, yeah, and then the swanton from the side, and that was it, right? Oh, yeah, that's it. But then, of course, the freak out, and, of course, there's later shenanigans. We got more add, too, but I forgot that swanton as Triple H is getting out of the ring. Yes, sir. And the crowd went ballistic. We had another ad. I'm sorry. It is 17:35 right now. And we'll watch a little bit more of this. I think this was just all like coronation, right? Did they do yeah, they did. And they did recite. So this is all just coronation stuff. But the pop was nuts. And I missed this theme song for Jeff. No More Words. Everyone's been begging for that song to come back. I bet WWE can't or doesn't want to be bothered to get the rights to it. And now, they're just not even going to talk. This was just Jeff Hardy's moment. This was his first WWE title. So, yeah, this was big. Oh, yeah, Jeff climbed up to the top of the actual apparatus there. I miss real sets in pro wrestling. There aren't any sets in pro wrestling. It's all the same WWE garbage, except for WrestleMania. but not every pay-per-view is unique anymore, or it's unique in the wrong way, which is comparably worse. But in any event, those are our two matchups. It is 9 o'clock Eastern time, of course. We've had a great hour's worth of matches. Flair and Butch Reed, good match, weirdly paced, but got the job done in the end, I think. But went on, I mean, that was 25 minutes, but that went on like, you wouldn't even be able to tell it was 25 minutes. And then this triple threat match was not just a spot fest, although it was a triple threat. I mean, triple threat matches are in essence spot fest, but there was some good work in it as well, as far as what they were able to tell and some of the spots they were able to put in. But they all made sense, and contextually, they were all trying to get the one up on the other. And then Jeff was just as valuable. He didn't get hurt. He was just as valued a player. It wasn't like Edge and Triple H didn't take Jeff Hardy seriously. They were all viewed as equals, and Jeff Hardy came out on top as an equal player in this field, and that makes a world of difference, especially when you're trying to get Jeff over as that world champion, and that was a big part of what they were trying to do. So I think that all in all ended up working out. So that is going to do it for this huge double feature match of the week. I'm glad you were able to stick around and watch these matches with me and enjoy them the same way I have. We will see you on Friday for our anniversary show, where we will be talking about a whole mess of things, from Dave Meltzer to these two matches to the legacy of Butch Reed and, of course, the wrestling news, all coming at you on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I am your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, and we will see you next time, which will be Friday. Take care, everybody.